Welcome back to the Keys to Success podcast. You have your host, Talisa Stubbs. Today, Deba is not here yet. She could be here later on, but for now, she's not here. Deba is living her best life right now. So we are just going to wish her the very best and hope she's enjoying her little vacation. Um, but anyhow, today we do have a very special guest that I am really excited to bring on today. We try to bring you guys, just new information, relevant information. And so I'm super excited to have Orianna Hernandez here with us today. Orianna, how are you, girl?
Hi, Talisa. I am excited to be here. I'm excited to join this, and thank you for having me. I'm really excited about it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I want to jump in, but I first want to just let people know, who you are, what your background is, and so for viewers who don't know who Orianna Hernandez is, can you just give us a brief introduction as to who you are, where you're from, and let's go from there.
Absolutely. So I actually started doing real estate about 10 years ago. I actually started in the mortgage world, and I was working for the secondary market, but turns out it was not the job for me. I was really kind of stuck in a cubicle, locking rates. So I was essentially negotiating with the secondary market and selling the pools of mortgages to Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. And I was just all day typing in. No interactions with people. I was just not having a ideal job situation. So my partner at the time was doing real estate and he was like, listen, you need to do something different. And we heard about wholesaling. So I was very skeptical about wholesaling. But we were seeing all these videos about individuals somewhere in the Midwest and Northeast just doing these crazy dollar amounts on checks by just selling a property to someone else and profiting. And it seemed like so unbelievable, right? I was like, that's not possible. No freaking way. You just made $10,000 just selling a house, right? So he took the leap of faith and then we did it together. So we kind of created our own wholesale company and it didn't work out as well for us. So instead, we ended up joining a company that was already doing it. We decided to, in a way, kind of pay for the education
Mhm.
with like our sweat equity,
Right.
right? So we joined this awesome team of wholesalers and they were doing everything, right? So, but we had to pay our dues. So we had to drop signs, drive for dollars, knock on doors. I mean, cold call, everything that you can think of. So I've absolutely done all of that, right? And it was it was a grind, it was a true hustle. Like not everybody is really made for that, but I love the independence. I love being able to just be so around people because I'm a people person. So I was immediately glowing. Like this was a jump from corporate America to a steady job, a great income, looks great on my resume to like completely no health insurance, no security to whatsoever. But it was such an exciting jump. And ever since I've been in the real estate world, probably about 8 years now. So I
Wow.
started wholesaling, then I started really helping investors grow their portfolio from land acquisition to expand into multifamilies, to help them manage their fix and flips, to work with their rental portfolios. And then I previously actually started working with a hedge fund acquiring assets for a large hedge fund here, nationwide actually, but I was really located in Florida mainly. So I was there for about 2 years acquiring for the hedge fund, and that was a fantastic experience as well. I loved it. And turns out that I found PadSplit also through the real estate world. And I maybe I spilled the beans too early to Lisa. I am sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Oh,
It literally just came to me. So now I'm doing this beautiful thing that Talisa and I connected through, and that's kind of what I'm here to share. But I'm an active investor. I am expanding my rental portfolio through co living. I currently own 7 properties, which in the co-living space really translates into 47 doors, generating beautiful cash flow and really working towards just fulfilling those dreams that started from wholesaling, seeing so many individuals becoming wealthy through real estate. And now I'm actually, helping myself get there. And it's so exciting that I'm also able to help others do the same.
I love that. And I want to go back to one thing before we even start talking about PadSplit, because I know that everybody wants to know, especially with the market rents the way that they are, how can we all increase our monthly profitability in these single family homes? But before we get to that, though, one thing that you said that I want the viewers to kind of hone in on, especially like people who are brand new to real estate investing, is you said that you guys put in some sweat equity. You started your own wholesale organization. Things didn't go as planned. And I completely understand what that is like because I did the exact same thing. People don't realize that, when they say that wholesaling is easy, you just got to connect the seller with the buyer, you collect this fee in the middle. It sounds easy, but not realizing that, okay, well, how am I going to find these properties? How am I going to contact these sellers?
Right.
How am I going to approach these sellers? And I've never taken a sales class. I've never been in sales. I come from the corporate world where sales kind of puts us off a little bit. And so, I understand all that. And so when you talk about not succeeding doing it yourself, but then joining someone else's wholesale operation, but having to put in some sweat equity. Talk about that because I think a lot of the times, like I just had a few individuals reach out to me on social media, just kind of wanting me to give them information. And I don't have in any issues with just giving people information. I think the more people that know about what we're doing, the happier people will be because everybody can win in this. But it gets to a point where you should be adding value to me in some way if I'm going to be giving you this information. So whether that is you putting in some equity, some capital, or just whatever the case is. So talk about that just a little bit about the importance of, especially when you're new, putting in some sweat equity to get your experience.
Absolutely. Listen, wealthy, not necessarily just wealthy people, but successful people are selecting where they spend their time and who they spend their time with, right? As much as they want to give back to others, right? They have to also give to others that are adding to themselves, to them as well. So that was the exchange that we chose, right? We started our own. We know we were reading and we did as much as YouTube university learning as we could, but in practice, that was a completely different conversation. So we decided to join a company that was willing to take us in, but the commitment was you're going to be here 100%. You're not here to be a part time. You're not here to test this out. You're here to go hard or go home because they were also going to invest in us with their time, with their, with their operation, with that income that was generated from their success into us as well. But it required us to put in all that sweat equity.
Yeah.
So, and that was going from the bottom of dropping those signs, writing those signs for the entire office. As simple as just putting the sticks into the actual bandit sign and dropping them in strategic locations next to Home Depots, next to maybe hospitals because there is family offices that need to deploy some capital, or even providing dummy signs where you're selling properties, but you are actually capturing a lead of a potential owner that is a potential buyer that is actually purchasing a property. So our sweat equity was so important, and through our dedication and through what we were putting in, they added more layers into what they were giving us in exchange,
Right.
right?
You really get to
And
track your learning. You get to fast track your learning without having to make all of the common mistakes, right?
100%. And we were seeing contracts going in and out. We were seeing what was the correct language to use in cases, because I'm a licensed realtor. But when you actually read the book and you put it into day practice, it's a complete opposite,
Yeah.
right? They tell you this is what you should do, but when that situation actually arises, it's a different conversation.
Right.
So
Exactly.
seeing things hand on was something that I could not quantify, in price.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, so let's talk about PadSplit. Um, Pads.
Let's do it.
Oh my goodness. So the funny thing is, I had actually heard about PadSplit probably a couple of months ago. I'm here in Richmond, Virginia, and I was looking at a property with one of my friends who's also an agent. And when we went in there, this guy, it was like a tri story. So you went in, and it was like the middle level, and then there was an upstairs and then a downstairs. But basically, what he had done is he had converted all of these common spaces into bedrooms. So he had like 9 bedrooms in this beautiful home. And we were just like, oh my God, we could turn this into like a traveling nurse's stay and all this
Right.
stuff. And so he sent my friend the link, the PadSplit link. And she sent it to me. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be completely transparent. I did not even click on the link. I didn't check it out because I was already like in my head, like, I know I can put this on Furnish Finder. I know that I can put this on Airbnb. And so I did click the link, girl. Until my buddy he Ramos or Ramus, I'm sorry, he would correct me, Ramus, told me that we were on his podcast and he was talking about PadSplit. And I was like, I've heard of this before. Where have I heard of this? So when he started explaining the concept and he sent me the link, I was like, I know exactly, where I had heard this before. So all that to say, Orianna, talk to us about PadSplit. How did you get involved with PadSplit, and why is this so revolutionary in today's real estate market?
Well, I gotta say, I love working with Joe. He's actually working on a PadSplit himself, and it's been fun working together. So I actually was also speaking with him about it, and he was surprised. The more we talk about it, it's so exciting. So okay,
Awesome.
let's talk about PadSplit. So we are a co-living marketplace. So people probably hear and have heard of co-working, right? They're sharing a working space. So now co-living is actually sharing a living space. So that is what co-living is, right? And PadSplit is the largest co-living marketplace of North America. So we are the largest one right now. So what we're doing is we are maximizing the common spaces in your house. Think of your living room, your dining room, your office space, a bonus room. And instead of keeping it as an existing living room and dining room, we are actually creating more bedrooms for additional cash flow. So we are maximizing your property 100% into additional cash flow. So now you're not renting it to maybe a traditional family as a 3-2. Now you're potentially renting it to 6 individuals as a 6-2. So those returns that you're not receiving are doubling, tripling just by adding more bedrooms. So why do we do the common spaces, right? The way that PadSplit sees co-living is, imagine that you and I live together and 4 more male individuals are living with us. Let's assume and let's stereotype them and we're gonna assume that they love to play video games and that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now they're gonna eat pizza and burgers and beers and they're gonna leave the living room a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not gonna pick after themselves. And you and I just want to go home, sleep, be able maybe to watch a movie or two, but have a space that's clean and tidy and, you know, very, very easy to go to. And instead, we have to deal with their mess. Now we
Right.
have to potentially have disagreements upon you cleaned last week. No, you haven't cleaned this week. Can you please pick up your dirty pizza boxes? Or can you just please lower your music because it's too loud? So instead of kind of creating opportunity zones for conflict, we are creating opportunity zones for more cash flow.
Gotcha.
And that's how we see it. So for us, couches are problem areas. Now let's assume on the other end, you have a really good friend and she just went through a really bad breakup, and you're just like, Deba, you can stay with me for the weekend while you get things, in order. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
And now it's been 2 weeks and she's still here with us. And now I'm going to be like, Talisa, when is she going to bring
Right.
something? And you're like, oh, it's okay. She'll be out a couple more days. And now it's a month. And now we have a third roommate that's undesired and creates, friction between us. So that's another reason, another example of why we eliminate those common spaces.
And and I completely agree with that, especially in the sense that, like, I know that even me and my family, we sometimes have issues trying to figure out like whose show to watch or what movie to watch in the.
Exactly.
And so to have to share that space with other individuals who may not like watching the same thing that I watch, it really just eliminates that additional conflict. But I do want to ask though, okay, so, we are sharing some of the common spaces, which is the kitchen, the restrooms. And I'm not even going to lie, like, sometimes the thought of me sharing a restroom with somebody that I don't know kind of creeps me out a little bit, because like if I see a pubic hair, we have a problem.
Oh, yeah. I get
We
it.
have a whole problem.
I
And
get it.
so talk to us about how you are, or how PadSplit prevents the complaints about those common areas not being clean enough or sanitary enough.
So there's two things, right? There is platform rules, right? So there's rules under PadSplit, and now the specific property per se has rules. So there's house rules and there's PadSplit rules. They're different, but both apply. So me as an owner of a property, I will say within my house rules that every single person is going to clean weekly their personal spaces, or I'm going to, for example, rotate who takes the trash out,
Mm-hmm.
right? And within that profile that you also create when you are a member, you are going to designate if you are, for example, an introvert, an extrovert, a super clean person. Maybe you're a little bit messy. So even within there, we're able to kind of look up profiles of people, and you can also see who you are rooming with, right? You're co-living with, right? But there is some of those house rules, and we have a program that's called Three Keys. Okay, think of Three Keys as a three strikes and you're out, three lives, and it's game over.
Mm, I like that.
So within those three keys, you're going to call and complain about me because I did not clean my dishes. I left, overnight dishes. So PadSplit is going to kind of analyze the situation, and turns out what you said is accurate, and they're going to remove a key. And potentially two other individuals are going to complain about me because I am unkind, I am maybe have a little bit of an attitude problem. And turns out I get all keys removed. So now I am completely booted out of the platform. So there's tons of ways that we mitigate that as well. And of course, PadSplit does an extensive background check on every single member that applies to PadSplit to make sure that you are a trustworthy individual, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you, of course, financially are able to afford it, that
Okay.
you have overall a clean background check, no severe criminal history. And we are also checking for evictions. So we are even mitigating on how well we are actually doing background checks on our members in order for us to create less of a turnover, right? Because really turnover is created when you're doing really poor background checks.
Right.
We're improving that as much as we can so we can really create a better pool of members that are living in PadSplits.
I love that, because you guys are really taking on the majority of the responsibility as far as it pertains to getting tenants in and getting tenants out. And I know for a lot of people, becoming a landlord is a bit terrifying, because of that reason right there. They don't want to have to deal with evictions. They don't want to have to, deal with the tenant at all. And so the fact that you guys, PadSplit, You guys are coming in, you guys are vetting these people, you're doing the background check, you're doing this 3 key system where if they don't fall in line, then they can be booted out. And there is no having to serve an eviction notice and having to send the authorities. Like it's a done deal. And so I love that aspect of it. And so are there certain areas where PadSplit is doing really well in? And what markets are you guys currently servicing?
So let me clarify a little bit on the eviction part. Just want to
Okay,
expand a little bit on that.
that'd be
So
great.
so there we do have a 97% collection rate, right? So that puts us as less than 3% on individuals that are not paying, right? National average is 6%. So we are half less than national average. But when a member does not pay, can it become eviction? It can become an eviction, right?
Mm,
Now, PadSplit does not do the eviction part. They get booted off the platform, but potentially they are going to still be at the property. So now the owner does need to take care of the eviction per se. PadSplit does not do that.
oh, gotcha.
Right.
Okay,
Now
thanks.
they're terminated from the platform, right? And then the corrective actions is more than likely they will, sometimes leave very easily, but some other people will fight. They will fight the system naturally,
Mhm.
right? But then the owner is responsible for the eviction.
Got-
Now, um, when you think about an eviction, like you said, it can be very scary, right? Discouraging. Now, when you are looking at a pad split, instead of you renting it to one property, one family, that your house is not generating an income, at a pad split, you have one room that is down, but the rest of the property is still generating income for you, right?
right.
So even when you're comparing those two exit strategies as a traditional rental with one renter that's not paying at a pad split that only has one room that is not actively generating income for you, the returns are still really high for you.
Okay, gotcha. So thanks for clarifying that, Oriana. So you guys, you still would be responsible for the eviction
Yeah.
process. And okay, so in that case, though, if someone becomes disgruntled or um, becomes violent or disrespectful to any of the other tenants or the other tenants, then that would be strictly up to the landlord to mitigate.
That's right. Mhm.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, cool. And so let's talk about what returns can we expect to see when we're talking about pad split. Are you guys charging on a monthly basis, weekly basis? What does that look like?
So PadSplit charges really for any room that is actually rented and generating an income, right? So if two rooms at your house are not occupied, we are really not charging. But it's in PadSplit's best interest to get all those rooms rented. That's how we are able to generate a profit as a company,
Mm,
right? So it is in our best interest to make sure that those rooms are rented. So when it comes to getting those rooms rented, we are doing all the marketing and the advertising because of that same reason. We want those rooms rented. So we are working hard on those rooms to be advertised to over 60 rental listings. We're also doing SEOs, of course, Google advertising, all social media platforms. I mean, and the list goes on, right?
mhm.
We are in 13 cities. I know that you were kind of mentioning this a little bit. We were founded in Atlanta. So that is our biggest market and is most established market as well. We're all over Florida, 4 major cities in Florida, which is Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, of course, Miami. We are also in Texas and DFW area in Houston. We're also in New Orleans. We go as far northeast to Richmond and Petersburg, Virginia. That's where you are.
Yes, that's
So
correct.
we're in Richmond, and we go as far west as Las Vegas and Phoenix.
Okay. And so, you know what? Something just popped up in my head right now. So, here in Richmond, there have been a lot of political conversations about shared housing spaces. And so what are some of the things that have given you guys pushback, if any, in any of the markets as it pertains to renting out rooms? And yeah, that's the question. And if you could just elaborate on that.
Yeah. So I think room rentals, right? Because that's kind of what we're doing, has this connotation of bad landlord, or Section 8, or just government assistance type of situation. So people think of room rentals and they're like, it's a boarding home, right? You're a slumlord. Also, as an owner of the property, it's just very negative, right? But what PadSplit is really doing is providing a safe space, a space that is fully furnished with all utilities included to individuals that are living in Richmond, any of those major cities in Florida and in Texas, where they're not able to afford renting an apartment, right? Because renting an apartment requires them to have first month, last month, deposit, three times their income, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not really familiar with Richmond prices, but I'll tell you that Central Florida, and I'm going to include Orlando and Tampa in there, um, three times their income for a studio is $75,000 on a yearly basis.
Wow.
Right? Florida minimum wage, or let's say low wages, are within the $40,000 a year. So somebody that potentially works at Disney, let's say, and it's helping you get into the ride and it's greeting you and it's always with a smile. How are they going to rent an apartment if they're generating $40 to $50,000 a year? But they have to provide $75,000, right? And
Mhm.
then those deposits. Let's say it's an 1,800 studio, so first month, last month, and deposit, right? That's almost $6,000.
Yeah.
And now they have to furnish. I remember furnishing my house. It added up
Yeah.
very quickly. $30, $50, $70. Just the couch was like $500, $600, and you're just like,
Yep.
what?
Yeah.
Right?
And
So somebody that wants to, rent an apartment has to at least start with $10,000 down just to start, because you also got to add deposits for your utilities.
right. Yeah. And so with PadSplit, are you saying that the deposit amount is substantially lower so that individuals that are experiencing that can afford to move in?
That's right.
Oh,
100% correct. So we are not necessarily asking you to provide the first month and last month in a deposit. It's substantially more affordable because we understand that they have nowhere to go. Now, interest rates are higher, right? So even if you find a great government assistance loan, are you able to afford those monthly payments for your mortgage? Right? It's
right,
hard. It's hard. And they're working people. I'm not saying anything against Section 8 or government assistance. There's nothing about that. But we are having another large population of Americans that are not able to afford an apartment, even though they're working countless hours.
right. Yeah. Well, and I that's another reason why I do love PadSplit, because I know of several people that have experienced that same issue with not being able to come up with first month's rent, second, and then the deposit. So I think that that is really helping the community.
Yeah.
So I do have a question though. So let's say I find a property and I mean, for the most part, it's move-in ready. Let's say it's dated or whatnot, but all I really want to pay for is to have the rooms converted, the commonly used spaces converted into bedrooms. I really don't want to spend any money like updating it and making it look fancy. What do you advise for investors that may have that similar mentality going into wanting to make it a pad split?
I think it really depends on your risk tolerance and what you're able to afford, right? We have investors that are extremely seasoned and experienced and are able to do a full remodel. And then you have an investor that is, starting, but still wants to do PadSplit. So can you still do it with a property that is completely um, unfurnished, or not unfurnished, but updated? Yes, you can. Absolutely. Right? Make it cozy, make it nice, make it comfortable, make it attractive. Right? Because when somebody goes and wants to look for a room, they're going to find that photo and that's what's going to sell them.
Right.
So don't use your phone that has a smudge on the lens and half of your thumb is in the photo. You
Right.
know, you know, spend a little bit on your photos. Go get professional photos. That makes a difference, right? It's like when you go into a dating site, you're not gonna put a photo where you don't look appealing. You're gonna probably find the best one that has the best angles of you. Do the same thing for your property. Present your property as the best one,
Yeah.
right? If the property looks like the furniture is maybe from grandma's house, look, marketplace, Facebook marketplace is a great place to find secondhand stuff that's still really modern, barely touched. Get creative. I have tons of investors that also like to shop secondhand to Goodwill, or absolutely, and there's a lot of great finds,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to buy everything new, but make it nice, make it appealing. Would you want to stay there?
Yeah.
Right?
And I think it's simple, and you guys make it so much simpler because with PadSplit, you're not. It's not like Airbnb where you're having to provide the comforters, make provide a theme and all this other stuff. Really, it looks very similar to a hotel where there is a bed, a mattress, no sheets, a dresser, a nightstand, maybe a computer desk, and that's really it. Am I missing anything?
I think you just missed a wall art.
Oh, and some
That's
wall.
it.
Yeah, okay, and some
Make
wall.
it cozy. That's it. Make it cozy, make it fun, make it modern.
And so, and while we're speaking about, making it cozy or whatnot, is there ever a time where you do offer linens or rent linens out for people who don't have comforters, or is it just like you just need to bring your own stuff?
So as we stand today, yes, we do want our members to bring their own,
Okay.
right? We do want them to bring their own. Now, what I do for my photos, because I don't do a lot of staging, but my staging really is just throwing a comforter on the bed, adding some pillows, and maybe adding like a fake plant or like an actual real plant to add a little bit of, light and life. Um, and that's what I do. So it's very minimal, but I do invest in my mattress covers because that mattress life is gonna really extend substantially when I use those mattress covers.
Absolutely.
So little things like that just add so much value. I like to, for example, add a desk and a chair in every single one of my rooms if the room allows,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes you just want to sit and work, or maybe journal, or maybe just read a book, and you don't only want to be in on top of your bed.
Right, exactly. And there was another thing that you had mentioned when we first spoke, and my partner had asked. He was like, maybe we can even put like a little mini fridge in the room. And I was like, nope. Oriana said, nope, don't do it because people are not as clean as you. And sometimes that could create a bug problem. And so, talk about that in your experience.
I am like sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay.
It's all I don't know, it's hard. So I'll tell you that at my first property, I actually added mini fridges in some of the rooms,
Okay.
right? I added them because it's a very large property. It's almost like a three-layer type of three levels type of property, but I added mini fridges on the rooms that are further away from the kitchen. So
Okay.
strategically, I did that, right? Now, the rooms were large enough for me to add that. But shortly after, I spoke with a couple other hosts and they were like, it was not a good idea. They left tons of food in the fridge, created bugs, roaches. Now,
Mm.
when they left, my cleaning person had to, take a little bit extra time cleaning that fridge because some people maybe are not used to trashing stuff out. Just think of an office kitchen. It's the fridge of the office kitchen is terrible.
Right.
Nobody trashes anything. There's food there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and nobody know whose leftover it is, you know? So now you are adding those mini fridges. So can it work? I think it can add value. Am
Right.
I going to suggest you to do it in every single one of those rooms?
No.
I would say don't do it for every single one.
Okay.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. So let's talk about the money.
Okay.
So, one of the benefits when it comes to PadSplit is that you can multiply your monthly revenue, and so let's talk about that. Let's dive into that a bit. Maybe we can use one of your properties as an example. What I'm trying to
Yeah.
show the people is, how much they could get in regular market rents versus converting a property into a PadSplit, what the difference is in revenue.
Absolutely. So I'm going to use my first property as an example. This property is in Jacksonville. I
Okay.
purchased this property in Jacksonville last year for 140,000. It was actually under contract for 160 or 158, I can't recall. But we of course negotiated a couple of things here and there that needed to be renovated. I wish I could show you the photos.
That's a
So you could see how it looked. So grandma has been living here since the 70s, and grandma was never able to renovate or improve absolutely nothing. So her rugs were green and purple and orange.
Oh, colorful.
Yes, yes, she was in style back then, okay? She was super hip. And every single bathroom had a different color. We had a lavender, we had a pink one, we had a tile green. It was actually kind of cute because those color tiles are actually coming back. They are coming back.
Vintage.
So vintage. So we purchased this one for 140 after, some negotiations with the seller. And I renovated this property fully because this is a larger property. It's almost 2,000 square feet. I put about 65,000 in renovation. So right now I'm all in for about 210, 205.
Mhm.
This property appraised for about 235 to 240. So I had a little bit of equity in there, right? And I actually created 5 bedrooms additional from the property. So
Wow.
it was a 3, 2 and a half. 3, 2 and a half. I converted my living room, my dining room, my office, because it was like an office space, and my garage into 2 bedrooms. So
Wow.
I created 5 more bedrooms,
So then you turned it into an 8 bedroom?
8 bedroom. And
Wow.
now my half became a full
Okay. So,
because plumbing is expensive. So instead, I just expanded the plumbing that was already existing, and I was able to, very creatively just expand it. And now I have 3 bathrooms total. So that property, my most expensive room, which is a private bedroom,
mhm.
is listed and rented for $260 a week.
Okay. 260 a week.
Mhm. My other large room is rented for about 240, and every other bedroom in that house is rented about for 180, 185.
Oh, wow. So I'm trying to do the math here. You would think I would know because I'm an accountant, but I'm not. Not a human calculator. Okay, so wait, you got 8 bedrooms. Um, One of them's going for 240, the other one's 260, and then the rest of them are 180. So how much does that equate to per week?
So on a weekly basis, on average, it's like about 1,600.
$1,600 a week. Okay, okay. So wait a second. What
Actually, I think my numbers are lower. I think I'm actually giving you lower numbers. You know
are
what?
okay? Because I don't have a calculator like
Give me a
right
second.
here. I'm trying to. Okay, 2, 4, 5, 6. No, I think you're about right, Oriana.
Am I?
I think so, but let's do the math anyways.
Okay, I'm actually looking at my account right now, so I'm gonna give you
Okay.
accurate numbers
The
because I.
account does not lie. The bank account does not lie.
Okay, so okay, my one. Okay, so add with me.
Okay.
270 is my first one.
Okay.
My second one is 190. The next one is 195. The next one is 210. Then 205, and then 195, and then 180 and 190. There it
Okay.
goes. 16. Okay, I was
Okay.
there.
Okay. So 1,600. Okay, that's per week. Now tell us really quick how much are just regular market rents if you were to rent this out as a long-term rental.
This property would have rented out for me about 1,700 a month.
Okay, damn. Okay, so I hope that y'all heard that. So, and we haven't even gotten to how much that is on a monthly basis, but just
No,
in 1 week, you're bringing in $1,600 a week on one property that
that's
you
right.
were able to convert to 8 bedrooms, and the monthly rent is 1,700. So you're already making basically the monthly. Okay, anyways, so
Yes,
how much does that equate to on a monthly basis?
about 6,500 a month.
6,500.
Yep.
6,500. So for anybody who is barely making profit at the end of your with your rental properties, if you have a single family home and it has a living room, a dining room, Oriana just said that she converted her garage, and you can add some more bedrooms, you can literally like, man, 17
Yes,
$1,700 is the monthly rent, and she's bringing in 6,500. Come on,
a
you guys.
month.
Like, this is okay. So wait a second now, because we know that PadSplit is not doing this for free.
Of
So
course not. Of course not.
what is the fee structure? How much is PadSplit going to get out of this? 65.
So, so let's do a recap. PadSplit is vetting your tenants,
Okay.
background checking every single person. PadSplit is collecting the money for you, right? So we're receiving the money from them. We're making the payments out to you. PadSplit is also doing the marketing and the advertising.
Mm-hmm.
PadSplit is managing the conflict between people, or, the member to member disputes,
Okay.
right? As well. And then we are also having a private consultant to you, guiding you through the entire process. In this case, me, guiding you through the entire process of conversion, helping you with furnishing if needed, insurance if needing, lending, a realtor, a wholesaler, a contractor. We want to make sure that you're succeeding in this, right? So I will be the master connector that you need in order to make this a smooth process.
Okay.
So after all those things that PadSplit does, we are charging 15, 15% of anything that generates an income.
Okay. So if the rooms aren't rented, then there's no fee.
There's no fee.
That's not bad. 15% is not bad given everything that you guys are doing. Um,
Well, and with the returns that we're providing,
and with the
right?
returns that you guys are providing. Yeah, absolutely. This is amazing, Oriana. So, if you guys have any questions, I know that you guys are on here live. If you guys have any questions for Oriana, go ahead and just put them in the comments, and we will get those answered for you guys right here live. Oriana, okay, so tell us, how does somebody get in contact with you if they want to convert their property to a pad split? What do they need to do?
So, first and foremost, I would want you to either email me, and my email is very simple. It's Orianna, ORIANNA, two N's, at patsplit.com. Very simple. Another one is, honestly, just follow me on Instagram. You can send me a quick DM. If you have a property that you want me to analyze, if you have a property that you want me to consider as a good fit for PadSplit, that's the best way to reach me. That's it. Talisa also knows how to reach me, so get through her also if you need me.
Yes. Or I was going to put your email in the chat really quick.
Yeah.
Can you say it one more time?
Yes. ORIANNA at PadSplit.com.
Okay, perfect. All right, you guys, I just posted that in the chat. So if you want to go ahead and copy that and email Orianna. This was great. I think this is going to give people, especially give investors, just another way to continue to be innovative and continue to increase those profits month after month without the fear of purchasing real estate because where the current rental rates are. So was amazing. Orianna, if you could give our audience, one more gem or just one more word to take with them, what would that be today?
Well, I like to say this often, and it's not to compare, but if you were in 2012 and someone came to your door and said, you need to do Airbnb, in 2012, we are Airbnb in 2012. So get on it.
Yeah.
This is something you do not want to miss on, and you're going to not stop hearing about us. We are changing and revolutionizing the real estate world, and we're here to do some really big things.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. You already know, like, I am in 100%. As soon as we buy a single family, like, I promise you, like, my buying criteria now is like, okay, but would I be able to convert this to a pad split? Oh, it has an HOA? Nope, can't do it. On.
No
So
HOAs.
like, this is such a viable option for people. So anyways, Orianna, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it. I hope to have you on again in the near future. And to our audience, be sure to go to our YouTube and like and subscribe. Make sure that you guys leave some comments. Make sure
hit
that
button.
Yes, post a review. Give a review on our Apple podcast. That's how we kind of get higher in the algorithm. So if you guys could please help us, join, subscribe, do all the things. But we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Comment, share, repost.
Yes, that part. All right.
Thank you, everyone.